Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're connecting from. Thank you very much for joining another episode of Style to Impact Live. If you're here live, let me know in the chat that you're here. If you are watching the replay, thank you very much for coming back and listening to today's conversation. I would still love to hear from you in the chat. So if you're here live, come and say hi. If you're watching the replay, come and say hi. Whenever you engage in the chat, it does let me know that these conversations are having a meaningful impact on your life. And so it encourages me to be able to do more of these conversations. Having your support does help me to show up more for you and help you to create the impact that you want on your style. I like to start these conversations off with a wellness check-in. I think it's important that we take a moment to pause and to reflect to see how we're doing, to tap into what is it we need to intentionally show up for ourselves. So if you're here live, let me know in the chat, how are you doing? How are you feeling? What's happening in your neck of the woods? How is life going for you? If you're watching a replay, then of course I invite you to do the same as well. Let me know in the chat how you're doing, and I love to engage with you that way. For me today, yesterday I had a bit of a challenge. I was so overwhelmed with emotions and frustrations that I completely bombed on an interview for this something that I really wanted to do. I had to interview for it to see if I was a qualified candidate, and I completely bombed. I was so depressed and down on myself that I had to call a friend of mine to have a conversation with and just kind of work through the challenges that how I was feeling, and really recognizing that in that moment, the reason why I didn't show up as my best self is because I was overthinking the process, because I thought that, once I got on camera, because I do this every day, I'll be comfortable in doing it. But it turned out that internally I was struggling as well. So I had to take a moment for myself. And so you may be, having your own challenges that you're going through. And so I want to remind you, as part of this wellness check-in, that whatever you're going through, it's always important that if you can find someone that you can talk to, someone that you can share with in confidence, to be able to get some of that off. Because sometimes if we try to keep it to ourselves, we go through this never-ending cycle of just going through whatever we're feeling, and then it stops us from doing anything for the day. So I truly encourage you to do that. If you're new to this space, I'm Salida Roberts. I'm the founder of Style to Impact. And I truly believe that representation is not just you being in the room, it's not just you having a seat at the table, but it's also how you show up. And so it's this belief that really drives the work that I do as an image stylist, which is to help develop and create individualized style for women who are ready to change the world, lead successful businesses, and finally feel as confident and fierce on the outside as they do on the inside. So if that's you, let's connect. Now, the internet was buzzing recently. I spent some time over on Twitter where I can get some of these news and stuff like that. And Twitter was everybody was just going off the handle on social media over Don Lemon's comment that you may have come across, where he talked about women in their prime and what age are women in their prime. And it just goes to show that we are still living in a world where women are viewed less than, especially as we age. And it was heartbreaking to hear it coming from someone that I've watched on television. He's on, I think it's CNN. He's on right now. I forgot the name of the show that he's on, but it's someone that I've watched, shared, and talked about the struggles and the challenges that the Black community face, especially when we have incidents like what happened, like George Floyd being killed, and just kind of listening to his opinion. So it's someone that I wouldn't say respect in that, like I don't know him, but it's someone that I follow his commentary. And so to hear someone like him that I thought had enough, I want to say common sense, or have grown enough or understand to some degree as a Black woman, as a Black man, as a member of the LGBTQ, like he has his own challenges that he's navigating, that he would have been self-aware enough to know that women, we have evolved, we have grown, and the barriers that society put on us is not acceptable. And so to hear him saying something, to the degree of where once you pass 50 or 30 or whatever the comment was, that you're no longer in your prime as women. And sadly, I've worked with women, of all different ages, from 30 to 50 and up, who had some of those blocks, who felt that way, that because they're older now, that meant that they can no longer show up and wear the things that they wanted to wear, that being over 50 meant that they had to adopt a style or a look that spoke to the age they were in. Like I had a client specifically said, where she's like, oh, you just keep going over the fact that, oh, I'm 50 now, right? I'm 50 now. I know I can't wear the same things that I used to wear before, right? But when I asked her about her style before she was 50, did she feel comfortable expressing herself through her style? Did she enjoy getting dressed? Like she didn't, because at that, even at a younger age, she was still putting herself in a box, trying to fit into this idea of what society thinks is professional, how you should show up. And so to hear a comment like that actually doesn't surprise me. I was surprised hearing it from, hearing a comment coming from him, but it didn't surprise me, because that is the narrative that's being fed in the news. That's in the narrative that's being fed in organizations, in spaces that women are in, that, oh, once we get to a certain age, we're no longer useful, we're no longer attractive, we're no longer a full human being. And so it's disappointing. It's disappointing. And so I wanted to have this conversation today to talk about what are some of the roadblocks that may be causing you to feel disconnected from your style, that may be causing you to shrink and hide, that may be causing you from expressing your full authentic self, right? And so the first roadblock in that stopping that I've seen, and not only in my own personal life, but the clients that I've worked with on developing their personal style and getting them to express more of who they are, and wearing clothes that's more in line with them, is the first roadblock is fear. Fear is a big part of why women aren't dressing the way they want to. Why, and especially for women of color, there's this fear around, if I wear my natural hair, then I have to deal with the microaggressions. If I wear bold colors, then I have to deal with the stereotype that as a Black woman, Black women, Black people, we love bold colors, right? Or if you decide to wear a certain type of clothing, there's fear around, oh, it's inappropriate for your age. So there's all this fear around what we should wear and how we should show up, that stops us from really wearing the clothing that allows us to feel genuinely confident in who we are and being able to express. It's just freedom, but that fear is holding us back from being free to be ourselves, right? Appearance bias is real. It's a real thing, and it impacts women of color more than other women, but it's a real thing across the board, right? It's appearance bias in terms of physical appearance. Like, are you thin? Are you fat? Are you dark? Skin color. Appearance bias in terms of how we wear our hair, what clothing we wear. Those biases exist, and as a result, there's a fear in, I don't want to wear this because then I have to deal with this bias. And so, if you're in that particular situation, whatever that is for you, where you're feeling a fear over wearing a particular item or dressing a particular way, here's what I want to encourage you to do. First of all, think about one, the bias and the boxes that you're being placed in. Please don't place yourself in that. Right? I need you to step out of that box. And that means having the audacity and the confidence to say, this is me. This is the one life that I have. I am going to embrace who I am. I'm going to express who I am for the love of living my one life. And if you feel as though, okay, I need that extra push, I need that extra motivation to get out of it, because we've been conditioned to think that we have to show up one way. There is this standard of beauty that we have to fit in as women and as women of color, that it's not going to come as easy. I don't expect you to just get up today and be like, okay, yes, I'm going to push past fear and show up as myself, right? And whatever that is, I know that that's going to take some work. So, one of the things that I like to do with my clients who are struggling with pushing past this fear and really adopting a personal style that's in line with who they are and feeling as confident as they do on the inside, on the outside, is to channel your alter ego. If you don't have one, think about, like, who's a woman in society, in the world, that you think is a badass. She can live in or dead, that you think is a badass. Like, you just love the way she moves through the world. And you can give your, name, give your alter ego a name. So for instance, for me, I like one of the things, like, I'm super introverted. Like, I don't do well in like settings where I don't know people and I have to interact. I think I'm awkward in some cases. And so for me, whenever I'm going out to networking events and whenever I'm thinking, okay, I need the confidence. I need to step into this space and own the space. My alter ego is this. I channel this Caribbean girl who's playing mass. If you know anything about me and you've been following my journey, you know I talk about that I love carnival. And for carnival, for me, it's this freedom that I have in putting on a costume that feels great on me. And then I get on the road where there are thousands of people, not only playing mass, but people watching us on, whether or not that's on television or they're watching us in the streets. And just having that sense of freedom in being myself and expressing myself and loving myself during that period. So my alter ego is my love for carnival. I haven't quite given her a name as yet, but that's what I characterize her as, and channel like my inner carnival goddess. So when I walk into that room, I'm hearing, like, in my head, I'm hearing like the silky music. I'm hearing like I'm feeling the feathers and the movement of my costume. And that's the confidence I step into. We think about Beyonce. She talked about her alter ego whenever she goes on stage. She's not actually Beyonce, because Beyonce is a quiet, conservative person. But when she steps on stage, she's, Sasha Fierce, where she's showing up boldly and strong. So think about what your alter ego, or someone that you really admire and you think is strong, and you like certain qualities that they have and adopt that. And that's how you break past that first roadblock of fear in stepping into that powerful being of who you want yourself to be. And then looking at what are some aspects of your personality, your appearance and style that you want to bring into the spaces that you have. So for women of color, for Black women that have the fear over showing up with your natural hair, right? I want you to think about when you step into your alter ego, when you step into that fierce version of yourself, is she wearing her natural hair? Then wear your natural hair. How is she displaying her authentic self? Did she do a recent photo shoot, have new headshots, wearing her natural hair? That's how you get over that fear, by doing one thing, when in changing one thing about your appearance that you may have been told not to do. The second roadblock when it comes to feeling disconnected from your personal style is the time constraints, right? We all have so many things that we're doing. If you have a family, there's your family life. If you have a business, you're running your business. If you have a business as a side hustle with your 9 to 5, you're doing that as well. If you're volunteering, you have your volunteer work, you have your activism work, you have so many things that you're doing. And so thinking about having time to get dressed, it's like, oh, I have to allot a certain amount of time. I hear this a lot from my clients. It's like, oh, I don't have the time to put together outfits. I don't have the time to think about what I want to wear and how to dress. So what happens is that they're just pulling whatever is closest at hand and putting that on. Like, oh yeah, I wore that pink dress yesterday, I just put that on. When ideally they don't feel confident, they don't feel powerful in that, but it's the just the action of, oh, I'm just going to wear this because I don't have the time. So if you are someone who is in that block of where you're like, okay, I don't have the time, I feel like with everything else that I'm managing, I don't have the time to get dressed. First of all, here's the thing. Whenever you get dressed, it's a moment of self-care for you. It's a moment of self-love. You're boosting your confidence. You're boosting your self-esteem. You are actually taking some time in the mornings, to say, I'm going to focus on me. So decide for yourself, is that going to be 10 minutes? Is that going to be 15 minutes? That you're going to center around you. One of the things that I've noticed with some of my clients, like they talk about time, not having the time and not being organized for themselves and not knowing what to wear. But if they have kids and I asked, okay, may I see your kid's closet, right? With your permission, may I see your kid's closet? And I look at their kid's closet and everything is organized and neatly planned out. And if the kids have events to go to, if they have like they're going to having a play date or something, like as a parent, you sit down and you plan, okay, this is what child is going to wear, this is how many outfits they need, and you go through and you're so detailed about it. But when it comes to yourself, it's, oh, I don't have the time to do it. And so that's a roadblock that many women face, and most of the clients that I've dealt with face. And so I want you to, when you think about how can you allot more time with the time that you have for yourself to get dressed. Couple of things you can do. One, you can pre-plan your outfits in advance. Most of us have an idea as to what our week looks like, what some of you who are pretty amazing, booked and busy, know what your month look like. So you know what activities you have on what day, how many of them you have to show up on camera. If you're speaking, you know how many speaking engagements you have. If it's in person, you know that, okay, how many you have in person, how many you have to travel to. So planning for those events, planning your outfit for those events allow you to spend a little bit more time with yourself, taking care of yourself and presenting yourself in a way that you want to present yourself, feeling confident, knowing that when you show up, you're showing up as the best version of yourself. And that means planning your outfits. If you remember, I grew up in a Caribbean home. I grew up with my grandmother, and one of the things my grandmother was like super big on, my grandmother would go to church every Sunday, and she will plan what she needs to wear, what she's going to wear on Sunday, somewhere around Wednesday. She knew what she wanted to wear Sunday. And so when Sunday morning comes, she knew exactly, like, Saturday night, she will put it out, lay out from, underwear, socks, shoes, everything she will lay out on the bed that she's going to wear. So Sunday morning when she gets up, she's getting ready and then she knows exactly what she's going to do. It's the same thing that I do with my clients as well. And the same thing I encourage you to do is to plan your outfits in advance. That means that you may have to, when you're planning everything else for everyone else, when you're planning, meal prepping, or when you're doing all these, that you spend some time, maybe that's on a weekend, maybe that's on a Sunday, you call it self-care Sunday, and plan some, a lot, 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be a lot, for the most important events of your life that you want to ensure that you're showing up as your best self, because your image is what helps you to not only feel confident, but attract people to you. The way you show up allows you to attract people to you, especially if you're someone like me who doesn't necessarily walk into a room and announce my presence, right? I use my clothing and my appearance to do that for me. So plan your outfits in advance. The other thing that you can do, and I've worked with my clients on this process, is hiring a stylist to plan your outfits. Yes, you can hire someone to meal prep for you, like create a meal plan for you. You can also hire a stylist to create your outfit plans. That is actually part of the service whenever my clients are doing a wardrobe revision that I do with them. Is we take items, like 10 of the most loved items that they have in their closet, and they upload it into this virtual platform that I use, giving them a virtual closet. And then I will sit down based on the activities that they have for that week, or if we're planning maybe 2 weeks in advance, looking at their activities, and I will create outfits. What that does, it makes it easier for you to go. You look at your virtual closet that I would have created for you, and you're like, okay, so I have a speaking engagement. It's going to be in person. It's going to be in LA. I'm going to be traveling. So we have your travel outfit together. We have, okay, so there's a networking event before the speaking engagement, like a day before. So you know exactly what you're going to wear to that. And then, of course, you know what you're going to wear on your speaking engagement. I mean, think about that. That in itself alleviates all the stress of what to wear, simply because you've worked on finding strategies to deal with not having the time. So overcoming that time constraint roadblock is a great way of doing that, is really planning your outfits in advance. If you can't do it yourself, if you really and truly do not have the actual time or have no interest in doing it, then of course you can hire a stylist, and that's something that I also provide to my clients. The third roadblock that is really getting in your way and causing you to feel disconnected from your style is not having the budget. Like, I would get on consultations with clients, like on my intake form, there's a question that asks, do you have the budget to invest in your image and appearance now? And there are three options. I've had situations where, persons will be like, yes, I do. We get on the call and we're discussing what are the strategies, what areas of their personal style and appearance that they want to improve. And, I'll get the question, okay, I don't necessarily have the budget now. Now, I do understand that, because again, based on all the expenses and things that you have to do, then you of course know what you can and cannot do based on your commitments that you already have. So one way of ensuring that your image is part of your personal development plan is to budget for it. Just like how you would set a budget for your food, just like how you set a budget for courses that you want to take, coaches that you want to work with, you also have to set a budget for improving your image and your style. And in doing that, you look at, like, what aspect of your appearance, image, and style do you need to work on? For some persons that I've connected with, it's a matter of, like, yes, they do have the clothing in their closet, but their digital presence, their, virtual image needs to be updated, meaning that the headshots are outdated, right? It does not represent who they are and the person they are right now. And so creating a budget to update, saying, okay, I need to update my digital brand image, my images, my on my website, my images, my headshot, setting a budget for that. What does that look like for you? Now, everyone's budget is going to be different based on your income, based on the commitments that you have, right? Financial experts say like 10 to 20% of your monthly income you can put aside to your appearance and your image, like improving that. But again, you know what your expenses are, you know what commitments you have. But the key is to put it on your as a line item, as a if to improve your image. If you have a business, it's part of your business strategy. If you are building your personal brand in person, on here on LinkedIn, you know what are some of the things that you have to update when it comes to your image. So set aside a budget. Look at, if you're gonna, you need to update your image collateral, that is images that you're gonna use in your website and your headshot. What do you need? Look at how much it costs to hire a photographer, how much it costs to maybe, like if you have to rent a location, on location, what that is. If you need a wardrobe, what that looks like. Are you going to buy your own clothing? Are you going to rent clothing? Are you going to hire a stylist to help you? So create a budget. So once you know, okay, I need to update my images, that's going to cost me $2,500. Set a time as to when you want to get that done. Right. So, you know, okay, $2,500, I want to update my image on social media, how I appear on my in my business and my brand in the next 3 months. How much do I need to save to be able to get that done? Right. Same goes for your wardrobe and your style and what's in your closet. You may have realized that the clothing in your closet no longer represents who you are. It's no longer in alignment with who you are. And so there may be pieces in your closet that don't fit you. And so setting a budget, like, okay, I need to update my closet. You do not, and I repeat, you do not have to update your entire closet all at once. If you have the funding to do it, then absolutely go ahead and do it. If you don't, then set your budget and do it in stages. Like, what is the most important thing right now? And I encourage you, if your personal style is something that you have never like paid much attention to, and this is something, a new area of focus for you, for your professional development and how you represent yourself, I encourage you to speak with a stylist first before you go buying new clothes. New clothes. The reason why I suggest that, because once you work with a stylist to really pinpoint and define what your personal style is, it makes it easier for you to buy pieces that really aligns with you. Because if you don't know what your personal style is, and then you go and you're like, okay, I need to update my closet, I need to buy new clothes because the clothes don't fit me, they're outdated, they're worn, they're torn, they're just not me. And you go now, you're looking at what's trending, you're looking at the 10 things that you need to add to your closet, and you're following all that guideline that's not specific to you. What you end up doing is buying clothes that's not aligned with you, that you don't feel good in. And then you're looking at, oh, I just wasted money. So in order to avoid wasting the monies that you have, is to consult with a personal stylist first. I do have a package where, if you know, like you're looking at, okay, what is my personal style, like the foundations of personal styling. There's, you go onto my website, styletaimpact.com. It's called the Style Starter Package. That's the foundation where we talk about what your personal style looks like. How do you want to show up? What are some of the pieces that you need to add in your closet? What is your body type? So once you have that understanding, then you set your budget to, like, okay, I need to go shopping. I need to buy some pieces because I would have given you some recommendation as to what those pieces are. You know that everything that you would have purchased is in line with how you want to show up and how you want to feel. But that third roadblock of setting a budget is important. That's how you get over not having funds to improve your image and elevate it to the level that you're at and where you want to go. The fourth roadblock that causes you to really feel disconnected from your wardrobe and your style is not understanding your body type, right? Not understanding your body shape. And so there's this, when we think about, oh, our clothes don't fit as women, it's like, oh, I need to lose weight, right? We always equate the way our clothes fit to losing weight. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter what your body size, shape, weight is, you are worthy of celebrating, showing up, and being your best self now. Now, if you need to, like, for your own personal preference, that you're like, okay, I don't feel happy and confident at this weight. I need to exercise. I need to diet. Whatever it is for you, you are doing it for you because you want to feel healthier and be healthier. Then of course do that. But do not think that you need to lose weight to fit into the clothing, to wear the clothing that you wear. What is it you need to do is to understand your body type. And here's a couple of things that you should do. First of all, get your measurements done. Yesterday's measurements is not today's measurements because your body might have changed. You may have gained some weight, lost some weight. You may have, gotten, your shape is different, it's changed. So get your measurements done. And your measurements, standard measurements that I suggest is like knowing what your bust is, your waist, your hips, your inner seam, especially if you like to wear pants, you need to know what your inner seam measurements are. Knowing what, maybe, I mean, you're not growing anymore, but just getting on understanding, okay, what is the length? Because we don't necessarily do this unless someone is tailoring clothing for us. Like, what is your sleeve length? Like, knowing what that is, so knowing your measurements basically helps when you're going shopping. So when you're going shopping, you can compare your actual body measurements to the measurements on the brand, what they're talking about that particular item. And that's how you know how to choose clothing that fits you. It's not okay to diet to fit into your clothes or try to fight to get into your clothes. You should always choose clothes that feels good on you. And that sometimes will mean that you have to go up a size, because going up a size is may be the ideal fit for your body, because you need to feel comfortable and confident wearing the things that you are wearing. The other thing that you can do to overcome this roadblock of not knowing your body type and not knowing how to dress is to also understand your body proportions. What I mean by that is, do you have a short torso? Do you have a long torso? Are you petite? Are you tall? Like, are you plus size? Are you, do you have where your entire, like for me, I'm petite and I am short in terms of height. I am also very narrow in terms of body dimension. If I'm supposed to take like a tape measure and kind of, or stand in a tube, I'm very small. So my frame is very small. My measurements from bust to hips are just about the same. I don't have no clear definition. Like, I do not have any clear definition in my body. And so for me, understanding my body type is understanding, okay, what feels comfortable on me? How do I want to like wear my clothing? And I've always suggest this is to, whatever you're wearing, have your clothes follow the natural flow of your body. Clothes that follow the natural flow of your body are your actual best fit clothing. And that's how you get over that disconnect, the fourth roadblock of understanding your body type. So those are some key things to pay attention to when it comes to understanding your body type and your body shape. And the fifth roadblock to why you're feeling disconnected from your style is because you lack inspiration. Like, think about it. If you're wearing the same dress every single day, one, out of fear, two, not knowing what to wear, not understanding how to dress your body type, then of course when you look at yourself, like you look at those photos of you on stage speaking, like, oh my gosh, I'm wearing the same dreaded dress again. Or you're showing up at a business meeting, or you're going to a conference, like, oh, you just seeing yourself and like, no, I don't like this. Lack of inspiration can affect how you show up, right? Because you're not thinking about new ways of how to style that. And so, how do you address lack of inspiration? Is to find inspiration, right? You have to take the time. If you find that you're not inspired by the clothes that you have in your closet, by the outfits that you're wearing, you have to be intentional about finding new inspiration. You can go on Pinterest and find new inspiration. You can look at like movies and television shows that you're literally sitting down and you're watching already. Like, what are some of the style that your favorite actresses or people that you follow that you like? Now, here's the thing about finding inspiration. You're not trying to look like anyone. So if you saw a particular, I'm trying to think of an example of someone that I really liked the outfit that, okay, Janelle Monáe is one of my muse when it comes to style, especially for black and white, how you style black and white. And so I like the way she styled, how she dresses. But for me, some of the things that she may be wearing does not align with my personal style. And this is why it's important for you to know what your personal style is, what your personal taste and preference is. So when you're finding these inspiration, you're not looking to copy the look, but you're looking to see how they're styling um, different pieces and how they're combining prints and patterns and mixing textures and colors and stuff like that. So for me, when I'm looking at someone like Janelle Monáe, who's styling black and white, like I look at how is she styling it? How is she mixing it? What colors is she like adding to pop? Red is one of like her favorite that she adds to pop. Like, oh, that's an inspiration. So find those inspiration, but look at it in terms of how can you align it to you. Create a mood board. If you're on Pinterest, you can start pinning what that looks like for you. If you are that person who wants to sit down, it's part of your self-care process, and you want to sit down and cut images and put it on a canvas and have a physical mood board, then of course do that. But in order to get over your roadblock of not having inspiration, is really to find inspiration. You have to look for it, you have to pin it, you have to paste it, you have to save it, and then you have to then look at it and say, how can I, what do I want to take from this inspiration that's in line with me, my personal style, my personal preference, my personal taste, how I want to show up. And then you can go into your closet and play with the clothes that you have. You're supposed to have fun when you're getting dressed. If you're getting dressed and you are going, okay, I don't know, this is going to be stressful, or whenever you have a speaking engagement or something important is coming up in your life and you're looking at your calendar, and the thing that you're worried most about is, what am I going to wear? You need to do a couple of things. Message me, link in my LinkedIn profile. The link there will take you directly to my Calendly scheduler, where you can schedule some time to meet with me, and we can talk about what your personal style goals are, talk about what are some of the challenges and roadblocks that are standing in your way and how you can overcome that, and what your personal style will look like for you. We can work on all of that. And the other thing for you to do is to know that it is okay that you don't know how to dress. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. We weren't taught as women how to dress. We weren't taught. I remember getting a bra, and I don't remember, like, my first bra, I don't remember being fitted for a bra. My aunt said, okay, you need trainers now. We went to a store. They looked at me like, oh, yeah, there you go. Right? I didn't have a choice to select it. And so for you, that's it. We were not taught how to dress. Like, okay, when you get to this size, this body shape, when you get to, work, how you should show up, what you should wear, like, we weren't told how to dress ourselves, right? We weren't taught, we were told what to wear. And so it's okay if you don't know how to dress to, express your personality, how to infuse your personal style into your professional style, how to bring more of yourself into your wardrobe, what to wear for your speaking engagements, what to wear for your interviews. It's okay if you don't know. What you need to do, what's important is for you to get help, seek help when it comes to um, crafting an image that allows you to show up as your best self, right? And so those are the 5 roadblocks that I see come up a lot with my clients. And just to go over that, if you're watching the replay, or you came in late and you're hearing this conversation late, those roadblocks are fear. And we have to step out of that box, step out of fear, and choose freedom, choose to be ourselves. There's the time constraint. I suggest setting some time to create some outfits in advance. There is the budget that's standing, not having the monies that's standing in your way. You need to set a budget, determine what aspect of your appearance and style that you need to work on now, and set a budget for it. You need to understand your body type, know what works for you, know what your measurements are, know what makes you feel great, what type of clothing makes you feel great. And of course, if you lack inspiration, is to go ahead and find those inspiration that you need. If you are joining me, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you being here in today's conversation. If we are not connected, I definitely encourage you to hit that follow button here on my LinkedIn profile and follow me. Thank you very much for joining. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate seeing your comments. I appreciate hearing from you, because when you engage with me, it does let me know that these conversations are having an impact on your life. Until next time, remember that representation is not just you being in the room or having a seat at the table, but it's also how you show up. Take care. Bye.